to Trap Muzik.
All right, don't get me demonetized. Don't get us blocked.
Right.
Man, oh man, this is episode 3 of the Rewind podcast. Of course, I'm Kev Nash, and it's only right that I get my guy, my bro, DJ Killa Kev, on an episode of this podcast, man. You know, we got our own podcast that we do together. You Can't Make This Up podcast. How many episodes we on with that one?
Man, we up to 199 episodes. Got 200 episodes coming next week. So
We out here, man. We got numbers on the board,
yeah,
bro.
we've been doing
Numbers
it.
on the board, man.
Before we get started, man, I
yeah.
want to say congrats on this idea, man. I like what you're doing. I'm a fan.
Hey, man.
I've checked
Go
them
ahead.
out. No, I was gonna say I checked them out, and you're doing your thing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. This is what happens when you're in the middle of a quarantine. You come up with ideas and you say, why not give it a shot? Why not give it a try? See what happens. See if it catches on with people. Been getting a lot of positive feedback. Shouts out to the homie Mike Wilson. He's been tuned in for a couple of them, and he's gonna join me next week. We're gonna do one of my favorite albums of all time. We're gonna do Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt with the homie Mike Wilson next week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But that's next week. That's next week. It's all about this week right now.
Yeah, this is about that trap music, man. I'm glad I got this assignment because this one's special to me. So.
Was it easy work for you?
Oh, super easy, man. Brought back memories. Talked to, I want to say thank you because I've talked to 2 people that I served in the military with from the years of 01 to 05. I probably haven't spoke to on the phone in 10 plus years. So I hit them up with, hey, y'all got to hear this funny, man. I got this assignment. And start the conversation off about what we're about to talk about. And that led to our conversations with some good friends. So appreciate you. I had this assignment for a few weeks. So in this album, the time frame of when this came out and the time frame of what this means to me is perfect for what we about to dig into. So
let's get into it, man. Of course, we're talking about T.I.'s sophomore album, Trap Muzik, released on August 19th, 2003. And I like to say about some of the albums that came out in 03, just to give people a time frame about where music was at that time. So in January, 50 dropped his classic Get Rich or Die Trying.
Mm-hmm.
Freeway dropped Philadelphia Freeway in March.
Okay.
Fab dropped Street Dreams in March. State Property 2 came out in August. Young Bloods, Drinking Partners came out in August as well.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest albums of that year. Outkast, Speaker Box, Love Below dropped in September. Luda dropped Chicken and Beer in October. And Jay-Z dropped the Black Album in November. So 03 was a big year for music. Definitely hip-hop music. And it was really the birth of the guy we're talking about, T.I., being known to the mainstream and known to everybody across the world of hip hop, man. So where were you at in 2003? What was your vibes like?
I was in 127-degree weather in Baghdad, Iraq. So T.I. was introduced to me by my good friend. His name is Shad Bivens. I gave him a 8 a.m. wake up this morning and let him know what I was getting into. But that's one of my best friends in the military. We have some of the best stories, from on and off duty from my time in the military. And he's from Georgia. He's from a small town called Quitman, Georgia. It's about 20, 30 minutes, I believe, outside of Valdosta, Georgia. So it's southern Georgia, kind of close to the Florida border. I think he's not too far from Jacksonville. But he's a huge T.I. fan. And he used to always force down our throats this dude, T.I., that no one ever heard of. I wasn't really introduced to T.I. until the desert. So I had no idea about the debut album. Later on now, researching, I see it didn't do as well. It wasn't as a much of a success as this one. But I remember him just having this artist T.I. He was constantly listening to him. I'm like, bro, what is this? And this is the way it came on. And I'm like, okay, I can rock with this. And me and him. So a funny story that these will have a lot of military stories attached to this episode. But a funny story. There was a local who used to sell some form of liquor, like their local liquor. He used to sell it outside of the gates of certain places that were, already we had already took over. It was deemed safe. It was deemed normal. Nothing was gonna happen to this guy. So he had a little tent set up, and he would sell liquor. So me being a medic, I had always had access to the ambulance.
Okay.
So I could always get in the ambulance and go outside the gate and wouldn't get questioned as to where I'm going or get stopped by anybody because I'm in the ambulance. I'm probably going on a call or going to help somebody or going to the hospital. That was common. We did it all day long. So I wiggled the ambulance keys. We go out to the gate, get out. He like, man, let me get some of that liquor. He like, but I ain't got no money. He was like, but see, what happened was he got sent 2 copies of this T.I. Trap Muzik. He like, you like American rap? And dude was like, yeah. He was like, I got this rap CD. He traded him Trap Muzik for a bottle. And that's me and him had this bottle of something that we were terrified to even taste. So we was offering the people, like we had some drink, let them have some, and we was watching how they function in the hour, see how they was rolling. So they were like our test dummies, but it all attached to this trap music. So I called him. We had to talk about that. We just have a bunch of my military time is attached to music because that's all we had. In '03, cell phones wasn't popping,
Right.
internet wasn't popping, so it was a lot of a music that got us through. Remind us of home. Like you talked about the 50 Cent. That was our number one. By far. But I remember hearing the Fast CD out there. I remember hearing this out there, and those moments being so attached to what I was doing in '03 when fighting a war. You know what I'm saying? That those moments are etched in my brain, and these albums are attached to those memories. So
Yeah, man. Thank you for your service,
for
obviously.
sure, for sure.
And for me in '03, I'm fresh out of college, man. I graduated from Wright State in '02. So at this
Okay.
time, I'm working at the radio station part-time. I'm working at the Fairfield Mall part-time. So basically, I'm trying to figure out life post-college.
Yeah.
Me and the homie Reg, Boo that man, we're living
Yeah.
together. We
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
an apartment. So, I'm just trying to make by, trying to figure out life. Like, yo, like, what am I going to do? Let me get this radio thing a shot for like a couple years and see what happens. Or am I
Right.
going to, transition into something that I probably really don't want to do? So, like, really, that's all I was doing. Like, when you fresh out of college, yeah, technically you're an adult and everything like that. So automatically people expect you to be doing certain things. But, a lot of my friends were still in college. So I found myself still going to Wright State a ton. Shoot, my girlfriend at the time was a student there, currently my
Yeah.
wife. So I was up there a lot all the time still. So I felt like I was still in college. And this Trap Muzik album came out. And for me, he wasn't necessarily talking to me because I've never trapped or nothing like that. But
Right.
it's the sound. It was the new sound that was coming out of Atlanta. We
Yeah.
already had
Yeah.
Outkast with their sound, and then slowly but surely, uh, the sound started to change, and it was this sound right here. And
Yeah.
my first feeling about re-listening to this album is T.I. is pissed off. He big mad. He
But
big mad that the first album bricked.
yeah.
He's pissed off. And you got to give T.I. and his whole crew a lot of props because obviously he got dropped from his record label after his first album, I'm Serious, bombed and he got dropped. But like in that pocket right there, that was the era of the mixtape
Yeah.
rapper, not the mixtape
Yeah.
rapper as we know them now with basically a whole bunch of production behind it. And it's basically an album. This is mixtape era where you're taking other people's beats and you're rapping over them a la 50 Cent, a la T.I. So he
Yeah.
basically reinvented himself off the mixtapes with DJ Drama and everything like that. and made self-made. You know, we hear a lot of people talk about they boss, they self-made and things like that. Like, yo, he made this album basically all by himself with DJ Toomp, who does basically, I think, like, I want to say like 12 or 13 tracks on here production wise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you hear all these beats, you hear this new sound, and that was what really stood out to me listening to it again. Like, yo, this you don't. I ran down the list of the songs on here, the albums that came out in '03. There's nothing on here that sounds like that. There's nothing on that list that sounds like it's a new sound, and that's something like what hip hop fans we love. Something new. We love the newest thing, and that trap music was the newest thing.
And I love the assignment, just having to do 2020 research on definitely two of my favorite T.I. songs of all time. I mean, 24s and Let's Get Away are definitely. Let's Get Away is my favorite T.I. song of all time. It is
Really?
by far. That song.
As a DJ or as just a person listening?
As a person listening, just because I
Jack
didn't start really
Bay?
DJing until I think I started DJing the end of '06, '07, or the end of '07, '08. It was, I want to say '07. End of '07, like in the house '07, '08, starting to get on my feet. And this music was the dancing Kev. This music was the dude that went to the club. I was the dude that we pregame at 8. We out the house by 10:30, because we know that the ladies got that 10 to 11 to get in free. So we show about 11 o'clock, 11:30. We right in the thick of it. So I was that dude. I was dancing all night. I met my wife on the dance floor at Club Cream. You know what I'm saying? So it that Kev was party, party, party all the time. Every weekend, that's what I did, and music was right there with me. So just going through this and like seeing, like you talked about too, but like seeing that, like I got to research a David Banner story about him producing, a song on here. Jazzy Faye, Kanye produced some stuff on here, like or a song on here, but not knowing that, in '03 or not, or up until this point, that was dope to kind of learn some of that. And just like the David Banner story, it's not like T.I. came up to him like, no, I can't pay you what you want for this beat, but let me get this beat for this, and I promise you, you're gonna be out of here. And that was kind of David Banner's kickoff to what he became. So just, I mean, but Let's Get Away, back on track. Let's Get Away was by far that song I listened to 1,000 times over. That was my on my way to meet somebody or my first date. That's the song I'm playing. That was my turn up. That was just every occasion I got in the car. It was on every mix that I made for a road trip. Like that was just my jam. So for sure.
So I'll go ahead and skip to it, man. I'll skip to a question I have for you later on, man. I'll skip to it now, man. Are you a 24s guy or a rubber band man guy?
I probably have been more turned in more occasions and can remember more laughs to Rubber Band Man than 24s.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
We differ
because
there, though.
because there was a time in my life where I kept a rubber band on my wrist. There was a time in my life where my little 350 that I had in cash in 20s was in a rubber band. And then I had that in the side pocket with, and I only had 80 in the other pocket in case I got robbed. Like my brain was just in that, like, again, never really trapped, but, you know, listened and just being flat out honest at that age, damn near worshipped that lifestyle of just like young, wild, and free, doing what I want. My first time doing life, doing grown up shit. So that, I definitely Rubber Band Man hold a little more weight to me than 24s. But 24s though, being a military dude, coming from people from all over, that was by far, I remember, that was spinner heavy time frame when I was in the military. Everybody that went overseas, they come back. The first thing they do is put some wheels, put some feet on Put some feet on it. Put some
Look at
feet
the
on it.
motherfucking wheels.
Yeah, everybody. That's all the military dudes do. So like people used to laugh because you would know the dudes that would damn near volunteer for deployment because they wanted to come back to get the Camaro with the 24s. With like that was just it. So um that song probably from a military aspect, that was by far the lifestyle of the black 22-year-old, 22 when I'm still in the game. Like that was a 22-year-old in the military tried to live just like that. You know what I'm saying? So
For me, 24 is by a mile. I love 24s. I love the beat. I love the lyrics, and it's just one of them songs that it has an intro to it. A lot of songs nowadays don't have intros to it. I don't think people are patient enough for like an intro to a song anyway. Did you
yeah,
hear that?
yeah,
Dun, 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 dun. And
yeah,
it's building the anticipation before the hook even dropped. Like I even noticed now listening to this, a lot of songs on this album you get the build up, the hook,
hmm
then the verse.
yeah.
Like on songs now, you maybe get a build up and straight into the verse, but
Look at
like
look at look
you,
at the
you
baby. He just bow. He just
yeah,
come out the
yeah.
gate. As soon
You
as the
don't
beat
get
drop,
you
he's
don't get the
spitting.
hook before the verse anymore nowadays. So
Very
I
true.
definitely noticed that with this album. And something for me also, when I went back and listened to the album, I'm listening and I'm expecting certain songs to pop up that aren't there. So this album, Trap Muzik and Urban Legend, really blend together because
Yeah,
Urban Legend comes out a year later, and it's like obviously Ti is riding that wave, like he's cashing
yeah.
in, wants
He
everything.
digging in more of the same pot.
Yeah, so like I remember like when Urban Legend came out, like it was like another song that came out, but like he had 4 singles off of Trap Muzik. So I thought that the next single that eventually was on Urban Legend was also on Trap Muzik, and I couldn't find it. I was like, well, where is this song? Maybe it's a bonus song. Maybe it's on the deluxe
Yeah,
version. But to come to find out that was just the next album that's gonna get ready to come out from T.I. But
gotcha.
the way the album flows, like I said, like when T.I. comes on the actual title track, Trap Muzik, it's so much aggression. It's so much
Yeah,
fire. It's a statement from him that like, all right, last time y'all didn't feel me. Y'all didn't fuck with me. Y'all gonna fuck with me now. Y'all gonna feel me now. And I'm here to play. And
yeah,
there's a run on this album basically where you go from Trap Muzik, I Can't Quit, Be Easy, which was another single, and then you get to track 6 with your track, Let's Get Away, to the 24s, the Rubber Band, man. Like you get a run right there, basically a 9 straight songs that's bangers, just
right.
bona fide bangers.
And that's what I was like. So imagine this. Imagine being so in 2003. I would have been. That would have been. I was 21 years old. Okay. So imagine getting home from Iraq. I think I got home in October. So getting home in Iraq, it's the club. You got money in your pocket. You ain't did nothing all year. I was there from February to October.
Mm.
So you get home and you at the age where you pregame at somebody's house. You pregame it on the way to the club. You get to the club and at some point you gonna hear fuck them other niggas and everybody gonna be mosh pitting on the like just the ride to the club and then you hear something like Be Easy or trap music, how this shit come on. We used to be in the car so charged because we knew we about to go in there, holler at some chicks, elbow some dudes in the chest that we didn't like on some slick shit while we was mosh pitting. Had and keep it moving. Like that was just our weekend. So every weekend, it was always like you say, the songs gave you almost this like incredible Hulk energy that you needed after the 7th shot of Bacardi Limon, whatever you was drinking and back great whatever, like that was just my life on most weekends in the military.
I mean, we talk about the mixtape era with this whole album, but it's a lot of songs on there that weren't singles that were also bangers. What's the song on there? that wasn't like a single that everybody knows that you really fuck with?
I would say Look What I Got. I like that one. I actually, to be totally honest, that let me tell you something. That one always, because it has the Roger Troutman, so that would
Right.
always being away from home. That one would always just get a little extra love because when I'm riding to the store and you letting the CD ride, and you're not paying attention to the music, but you just focusing on something else, and then you'll hear that would just give me a moment of like, wonder what Smoke doing back at the crib. Let me holler at the homie, like just take you home for a second. So that to me is just a favorite track. The T.I. versus T.I.P.
Yeah.
Probably another. So yeah,
Yeah, for
I mean
me.
it's enough. It's enough heat on here. So I'll say this: it's some tracks on here that just kind of you get. I feel like I can, and now in 2020, I daydream on when going back through. It's almost like I've heard them enough, and I know they're not my favorites, so I kind of like coast through listening to them, not like giving them my full attention. But then it's like you say, the four big singles, and then some others that take me to where I gotta almost start the track over because my daydream that took over. I ain't listening to the lyrics. I'm so lost in this daydream. Like, oh man, that was funny, but let me hear what he was saying. Go
Mhm.
back. Like there's so much heat on here that I, I I'm almost glad this was the second album for T.I. and not
Yeah,
the first, because he
yeah. I
would have had to
mean
follow
that
this up consistently.
that L that he took with I'm Serious built this album because who knows who he would have been if that album would
Because
have took off. Who would have
I had
known he
read
would have had that hunger?
he was signed in '99 as an artist, but this was '03, so that was 4 years of growth, 4 years of you know going through and seeing what you need to do to get it done. And Trap Music debut number 4 on Billboards, and they said it sold 110K the first week. So you know that's that's the, that's where it started. It sounds like
Facts. And you talked about Ti versus Tip. I love a back and forth type of rap. I love those
Mhm.
type of raps, especially when the artist is, saying his Ti is the safe version, the version that goes to the public. Tip is the street version of himself.
Yeah,
The story goes that when he first initially signed, obviously it was Tip, but he couldn't. They didn't want him to use that name because of Q-Tip.
yeah,
Tribe Called Quest, so he just shortened it to Ti. So you get that dynamic there and then the later album was called Ti versus Tip. So you get an
right.
early version of that. Also, you get this the first time he proclaims himself the king of the South.
Yeah,
That becomes a big deal. That becomes a big deal with him versus Ludacris, with him versus
Gucci.
Gucci. Damn, I'm drawing a blank on a little flip. So
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
this starts like him proclaiming himself the best in the South, the king of the South, and follow my lead. But as you look back on it, it's like, well, yeah, man, like this album right here did give birth to what Jeezy did with Thug Motivation 101, what
hmm
2 Chainz was later on able to do. So it paved the way for a lot of dudes because like they really weren't making like street sounding music in Atlanta before Ti.
yeah. I found it real interesting digging into this. No, I didn't really probably pay that much attention in that time of my life to know. I knew of the maybe some quote of like who started trap music. I knew that T.I.'s trap music was proclaimed by him as like this is where I started trap the term trap music. I did trap music. But then, Gucci had I think it was '05, the Trap House
Yeah.
album that they call like the blueprint for a lot of artists to really just follow on that vibe of music. But then in doing this research for this album and reading some old articles, you read about there was I think it was
Mm-hmm.
um, Goody Mob in the mid to late '90s. They did a song called Thought Process, I believe it was. Where I put a note in here. Where is it at? Yeah, here it is. Goody Mob 1995 track Thought Process. They use the term trap in there, referring to it like as like saying the subject matter of using the word trap. And then Outkast in '98, that Spodioti Dopalocious. They
Yeah.
Big Boy uses the term trap in there as well, and those were mid to late '90s tracks. So it was a lifestyle
Yeah.
that was happening around you and growing and bubbling. But I think T.I. just put the stamp on it first. Just said we're gonna call this trap music.
So where do you
Music.
with a Z and a K?
Yeah.
So where do you come down with that? Where do you come down with the person that coins the term versus the person that blows the term up or blows whatever that is up? Where do you come down on that?
See, I like the story, like the more the Dudgeon family Outcast mid to late '90s being, they trap lifestyle was drugs, was the living, was the money, it was all things combined that we gonna call this the trap, like, but
Mhm.
that had to come from a place. So for even the youngsters that maybe would have been 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, them teens and young men was out there trapping. So you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So they learned that from them. So I like to always take it back to really where it came from, and it seemed like the mid '90s rap don't get the shine of the credit that someone who calls himself the king of the South and has an album called Trap Muzik and has been in the game for 20 years now, that he gets the credit of it, but there's like, Freeway and Freeway.
Right, right. Yeah, right, right, right,
Rick
right, right.
Ross and Rick Ross.
Right. Yeah. For me, I look especially at this situation. You brought up those great references from Outkast and Goody Mob. I think since Outkast, their style basically changed from album to album. They were always themselves, but like it never was, all right, this is what we rap about, and it's the only thing we rap about. They rapped about a little bit of everything, and then they
Yeah,
experimented with a lot of different sounds and different waves. So with an Outkast album, you never knew what you were gonna get from album to album, especially after you hear the first album, Southern Player Listed Cadillac Music to AT
hmm
Aliens. Like the sound change was so dramatic, you learned like, all right, well, the next Outkast album, you don't know what you're gonna get. But with a
yeah,
T.I. project, you know what you're getting. With a Gucci project, you know what you're gonna excuse me, you know what you're gonna get. So like I think like the term trap, they came up with it, and it's like, hey, we trapping, we selling drugs, we doing what we're doing. It's a trap, literally and figuratively, and then
hmm
throwing that music on it and giving it a soundtrack. Basically, Ti gave that music a soundtrack because I don't think you can say that Goody Mob or Outkast was a sound of trapping. Like you,
yeah,
like you feel what he's saying on these verses, what he's talking about trapping, or talking about what's going on in the A, and the beats match that, and that's what we're gonna talk about too.
yeah.
Like,
Tune put his foot in this one. Tune put his foot in this one. The beats is the meat to me. Like the beats
oh,
is the foundation. Yeah, super pause. The beat is the foundation of all that was those years. Like just the weight of them. Like they really be like you can be in a whole different headspace and like you say, put on 24s, put on Rubber Band Man, put on Be Easy. Let it start with the intro. I mean, this ain't no album, this ain't no game. This is trap trap. I mean, that shit to me is
right,
like
right.
whoa, like that shit bopping. So
I mean,
man,
he tell you right there what this is about on the very first song, the
yeah,
very first words out his mouth.
yeah. This ain't no album. This ain't no game.
Yeah, man. I did want to talk about another track that I really like a lot that I don't even remember being on here, to be perfectly honest. Like I totally forgot about it. Was Bezel with A
Okay.
Ball and MJG. Like,
Yeah.
yo, that's a slapper right there. Like, this already had 4 singles on here, but
hmm
like if they needed a fifth single, I would figure something like that would have been a fifth single. I mean, you got Ball and G, you got
hmm
Bun B on there. The beat is crazy. The subject matter is crazy. I mean, shoot, this is in an era of the bling bling era. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about how many rocks you got on your bezel. And another thing about this whole 2003 and '04 era of music and everything like that, we can dip into fashion. Like this was this was an era of you wearing a 4XT. Well, me wearing a
Yeah.
4XT, 38 in the waist on the jeans, hat tilted with a do rag to match. Like the fashion during that era was crazy.
Funny story. You bring that up. Um, you know, Shy Smoke. You know
Yes, sir.
his height and weight does not match mine, right?
Uh,
And as I got out of the military in '05, I basically being forced to work out every day for 4 years. I came home with the mindset that I'm not doing shit. So I came home January 20th of '05 and did not touch a weight or exert myself over 4 miles an hour the entire year of 2005. Like I didn't do anything but party, eat pizza, and I gained. That was the beginning of me gaining what was later to be 100 pounds. 100 pounds down, 100 pounds down. By the way, but I
hey,
gained 100 pounds, lost it, but that was the beginning of that. And I remember so '03, '04, '05, '06, '07, like all those years of baggy clothes and you wearing shit that was just way too big. Smoke was leaving to go to LA and he has so many clothes that I could wear because he had clothes that he was buying that was 40, 42 in the waist, and this nigga nowhere near such a thing. He had 3 and 4 XTs. He left and I came up about like I had everything. Like it was like my big brother was big. I came home. My mom like, where you got it? I'm like, Smoke. He moving. She like, Smoke. I'm like, yeah. She like, how are you wearing Smoke's clothes? I'm like, this how them baggy jeans is happening. So super funny that yeah, that was the style, the do rags under the hat. I remember I had every color do rag. I had stocking caps. I had all that, man, all that jerseys, you name it.
crazy man. It's crazy to look back at pictures too because
Man,
I was telling you before, during this whole quarantine, what I'm saying, I'm trying to clean up around the house when I can, everything like that. I ran across an old photo album, and when you run past a photo album, you got to take a peek. And I came across a picture. I was like, "What am I wearing, dog?
I'm gonna
Why?"
send you a picture when this is over of me in one of the coldest of Nietzsche Ohio State color velour suit you had ever seen. I'm telling you, that thing was amazing. I'm gonna see that picture. You gotta use that for the little funny pic.
Got man, just wearing like a jersey that's a size 52 for some ungodly reason, man. It's crazy, man.
Big
What's
come up for the big guys. Big come up for the big guys.
sure? What's some songs on there that you not feeling?
Um, the doing my job one, I ain't really too keen on. It's okay. Um, but be better than me. I don't like really how the album ends. It kind of just kind of the last two, be better than me and long live the game are.
I feel you the exact same way. If it would have
Yeah,
ended with the King of the South on track 14, that
perfect.
would have been perfect. That would have been a perfect album especially for that time frame. It would have been a perfect album for them.
Yeah,
It would have definitely made like those. They feel like really like filler songs. Like we
exactly.
don't
They
we
they
don't need
wanted to get
those
to a
songs.
number, and we put these two on here.
Like they wanted to hit the hour mark or something like that.
Exactly. Um, I still love you's okay. I'm kind of looking through the playlist.
That's the one he talking about the kids and his kids and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, Ti. Hey, it's cool, man. Appreciate you loving your kids, and I guess you got to make those type of records, man, to let them know. But I could do without.
it's those songs to me are better served on a different album, or even just put them out if that was the vibe at '03. If that's how music was shared, you know what I'm saying? Music like we just talked about, it feel like they need to get to a certain number or a certain minute mark, and they just put some songs in there because for it to be called trap music, like Thug Motivation 101, I feel like you put on and you the whole way through. You know,
Yeah.
like you really on some like this one, you could really be in that vibe, and the next thing you know, you thinking about your mama or thinking about thinking about the kids that you wanted to have at a young age or what it's like to have a like you. It took you somewhere else, but we're supposed to be. Then you right back to the trap and you having you fun with your boys. So
Yeah.
it's just a couple of those type of songs that just it was too hard of a turn to be on an album that I'm thinking that I want to be trap music through and through.
Right, right. So you fresh out of the military, we in two different places at that time. You
Yeah.
got you got money in your pocket.
Well, shit, I'm fresh. I'm fresh home from Iraq. I'm still in the military. I'm
Okay.
just home. I just got home from Iraq in '03. So, but yeah, still same. I still had 7 months of hazardous pay and only buying toothpaste and toilet paper. Because like one thing that I was telling my wife this morning when I was just talking about this was so in 2003, February 12th was the day I left to go to Iraq. So that was when the war was about to start. The war started, I believe, in April of '03. And by end of May or sometime in May, the war portion of us actually warring had kind of slowed down. Then it became, ratings, and they was taking over. They was making small steps towards Baghdad. But like the initial invasion from Kuwait to Iraq, that kind of happened in May. So for me, as being a medic in the military, that was by far the worst part of it because medic, war, military, you can imagine the things I had to see and deal with
Mhm.
people's lives, limbs blown off, lives changed, dead, you name it. Anything you can imagine you see on a movie, I saw in an 8 week span, or a 6 week span of a 19-year-old, you know what I'm saying? So or 20-year-old, however, I think I was 20. So yeah, I was 20 going to be 21. So just being super young and dealing with that and then having all you had. So when we were there, it wasn't yet to what it was now. Like now they got full gyms, they got hoop leagues while you there. All we had, literally, all we had was our cot. It looked like the old, like watching what's that I almost had it. The show we used to talk about, we used to watch to come on TV, MASH.
Yeah.
It was like watching. We had the cots. We had a makeshift table out of something we made. We had spades. We had just cards and each other and music. That's
Yeah.
all we had. So like, it wasn't built up enough for us to be like, man, let's go hoop to relieve some of this stress. Let's go, to the gym. We had jail towel workouts, or if
Mm.
somebody had a dumbbell or had something, it's full of sand and everybody using it because that's all we had. So being there at the beginning, music was really everything that kept you going. So just to be able to get through that with your head on somewhat straight at a young age,
I
you know.
feel you. I feel well. I don't feel you, but I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But a lot of videos. We talked about the singles on here, man. You had 24's video had cameos out the
Yeah.
wazoo. You had Lil Duval in there. You had
Yeah.
Mike Vick. Like think about
Mhm.
that, man. This is primetime Michael Vick
Woo.
in Atlanta. In Atlanta,
Man.
Michael Vick showing up in a
And
video.
Atlanta growing to be what it is now at that time.
Right.
Atlanta was becoming it had the Freaknik, and it was a big city for sure, but just that time and space was like Atlanta was becoming a staple in music in '03 for sure.
You had your song "Let's Get Away." Had old girl Reagan Gomez from the
Yeah.
Parenthood.
Yep.
she
I
was in.
watched that video this morning.
She was the lead girl in that video, and then the capper, Rubber Band Man. Obviously, David Banner's in there. He produced the record, but I mean, like the super stamp, the stamp of all stamps, especially in that era. You had Puff in the video.
Yeah.
Double bottle pouring it out. You have Puff in your video.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people understand like how important, like, especially in that era, like having a cosign like that is.
For
Like
sure.
nowadays, you know what I'm saying, music videos are shot like, you know, guerrilla style. Like you don't even need permits, you know what I'm saying? You pull up with an
Mm-hmm.
iPhone, you pull up with your camera, you shoot your video, you keep it pushing. But like this
Right.
is still like the era of big budget videos and having cameos from super famous people giving you that cosign, like, yeah, I'm in this video with him. I'm saying this song is dope, so you should listen too. Like, this is
Right.
106 in Park. This is all those things
Yeah.
that give an album and a rapper or entertainer, singer, rapper, whatever, that extra push to push you to that next level. Because I mean, shoot, you saw 24 as a Rubber Band Man and Let's Get Away. You saw that on MTV as well back when they played
Mm-hmm.
music videos. So like,
Right.
no, I don't know if people understand like the impact of those singles. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
when you're a rapper, they give you two. They give you two. Like especially in that era, they give you two. We're gonna give you your kickoff single to test everything out. We're gonna put this
Right.
single out
Right.
to the masses to see how they feeling it, to see if they gonna, you know what I'm saying, put down their hard earned money to buy your album. All right, cool, that did well. We're gonna go ahead and push out the album. All right, we need another single to make sure more people buy it. If that second
Yeah.
single don't do well, they not buying it, so you're not getting one. So this means like he put out Be Easy. Enough people fucked with it. Then they put out the 24s. Then you put out Let's Get Away. Then you put out Rubber Band Man. Like this shit is momentum. Like yo, we building momentum, and more momentum you get, that means more album sales you get. That means more touring opportunities. That means boom, we want
Right.
you back in the studio ASAP. So go ahead and give us that next album.
Yep. And then the commercial success come. You know, like
Yeah,
that's when T.I. go from Atlanta to T.I. go to Dayton, Ohio, and we learn who T.I. is on our couch. You know,
yeah,
like that whole like you say, artists doing the cameos was literally your like the amount of money that went into these videos just to have 3 months of success. You know,
yeah,
like they spent a lot of bread to try to recoup that on the back end. They spent it all a lot up front, but that time that was the the more you got the cosign, the more you got a Diddy, a Jazzy Faye,
yeah,
whoever he was working with in those times that was bubbling. That just means you was around for 12 more months. It was like extending your contract. you know, like that was just how you survive, was by the relationships and how you could make yourself look and appear.
yeah.
I, Diddy probably wasn't there. That whole clip was a second. It wasn't nothing.
it's,
But
it's 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 almost like a feature on the album, basically. When
there you
especially in
go.
that era when we watch music videos heavily. Like,
Yeah.
yo, this is a promo for the album. And speaking of features, there's only on Trap Music, Mac Bone is on there.
Hmm.
Then you got Ball and G and Bun B on Bezel. So technically, it's only three features on this entire album. And I talked about
Yeah.
this on the Ready to Die with Notorious B.I.G. On the B.I.G., it's only one feature from Method Man. So
Hmm.
artists being able to carry an entire project, write the entire project, but basically by themselves, and for people to really fuck with it, it should be commended.
Yeah. I found this too. It looks like the number 5 track, "Doing My Job," was the track that Kanye produced.
Okay.
The "Let's Get Away" track was the Jazzy Faye joint.
Bizzle.
And then number 8, "Rubber Band Man," was produced by David Banner. Kanye also had "Let Me Tell You Something," number 11. T.I. did his own production on T.I. versus T.I.P. And
That's
then the featuring Bun B, A Ball, and JG on Bezel. So, aside, like you say, he had producer features, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and had some, Toomp was all over this though. Toomp
Yeah.
was the executive producer that, was all over this. So.
It's
Dope,
a
man,
fact.
dope. It's just a dope project. This whole for me to be able to say that, I still play rubber band man. I still play 24. I definitely, if you're at any Killer Kev set at 10:15, you probably hearing Let's Get Away. Like that's I I play Let's Get Away and Imaginary Players at most club settings
Hey,
when I'm setting up. Like those are the songs that when I'm finishing my left, putting my bags away, or I'm just now getting going, but I'm not really stationary vibing yet. Those are the tracks that I just have in a folder that those get me right. So those are songs for me that I play all the time. And I could still play Be Easy. I could still play some tracks on here. I'm about to start playing it. Let me tell you something, because I want to blend that in with I want to be your man, just
yeah.
to do it one time. So
So you getting
just
ideas? Your wheels
exactly,
turn as a DJ.
exactly.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I fucks with that. Well, shoot,
Yeah,
you got Killer Vibes coming up, right? I mean, when
yeah.
this
We
is
gonna
when this is released on Wednesday, Killer Vibes has already happened, but you got Killer Vibes tonight, right?
yeah we gonna rock out tonight. I think I'm gonna do this some R&B. I'm trying to find like I haven't been in the headspace of like turn and rock. I ain't been there lately,
Right.
and kind of did a R&B set a few weeks ago that kind of was super interrupted. So I actually been reading and listening to some other DJs, and I'm gonna try tonight. I think I'm gonna try to have my speed up a little bit on some of these songs and not have my key locked. So basically, it ain't gonna be too noticeable, but it might sound a key higher or a little different. And just I was reading an article where a DJ had tried that and claimed to have got a little more success on the simple fact that he was playing them faster and not in tune with quote unquote the Shazam ear.
Okay.
So I might try something like that. They're slow jams, so to go from a 64 BPM to 67 ain't gonna be terrible. I ain't gonna do nothing too drastic, but I'm just gonna mess around. If it sounds too crazy, I'm gonna go right back to it. But I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit when we get off of here and check it out. But we gonna R&B them out. Have a little, probably a little 9 to 10, or so 9 to 10:30. Just a little quiet fire. Get your mind right for the lay down. So
For sure. Shout out your IG. Shout out your Twitter.
yeah, man. Everything that I do on IG and Twitter is DJ underscore Killa Killa underscore Kev. DJ Killer Kev with the underscores in between. So,
There it is, man. My brother DJ Killer Kev. I appreciate you jumping on the Rewind podcast. You will be back. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
sir.
I like to try to make my schedule 2 weeks in advance, so I would definitely give you a heads up about your homework assignment for the Rewind podcast. I appreciate you stopping through. And
Yes, sir.
everybody out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I talk about this on our other pod, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not really like I feel weird saying this, but it's kind of like one of those things you have to do. Like, share, subscribe, five
Yeah.
stars,
5 star, 5 star, 5 star.
comment below, all those type of things that everybody says in their other podcasts and other platforms to help the podcast grow. I'm Mr. Let It Grow Organically, but you
Yeah.
got to say those type of things to help it grow organically,
You
man.
still you still got Rogan $100 million dreams, baby.
Woo! Numbers on the board.
We all still got the dream. So yeah, definitely support the You Can't Make This Up podcast
Oh,
and the Rewind podcast for sure.
sale.
Yeah, right.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate
Hey, I
it.
appreciate you, man. Had a good time with it.
Peace.
Yes, sir.